We are in topic 3, which is systems thinking. So this is lecture 4 on systems thinking concepts. So on lecture 4, we are going to cover systems thinking, mental process, systems thinking principles, systems thinking dimension, systems thinking types, system thinking as a perspective, as a special language, and as a set of tools. So this lecture is going to be divided into 3. So please make sure you have listened to all the 3 parts in order for you to complete the whole lecture. First of all, what is systems thinking? So we learned that every system exists in an environment. So the environment in which the system exists is what we call as the larger system. So if you recall back, we have discussed on the suprasystem, the system, and also the subsystem. Okay, now systems have components. So these components would interact with one another in order for the system to function. This interaction sometimes is not very clear, which in turn lead to the unpredictable behavior. So in order to understand the components or how systems work, so we can apply systems thinking. So systems thinking emphasize holism over reductionism. So what is actually a holism? So holism is the behavior which determined by system as a whole. So you look into the whole thing that the system comprises of, and then you can understand the system. So that is actually the holism perspective. So what is actually a reductionism? It is a behavior explained by the behavior of the subsystem. Okay, so this one is looking into the subsystem and explaining the behavior based on what it sees in the subsystem. So the approach that we want to have is, of course, the holism approach. Thinking is about mental processes that take place in the brain or body system, or basically action of using one's mind in order to produce thoughts. So systems thinkers seek to understand 3 things. The first one is the parts, the second one is the whole and also, and the third one is the complex relationship that enables the parts, the first one, to become the whole, the second one. Now we look into the 3 mental processes that can occur. The first mental process is analysis. So analysis is a 3-step mental process which lead to an awareness of constituent parts of anything intellectual or substantial. So what does analysis do? The first thing is take the thing apart. The second one is to determine what the parts are, and then the third one is to reassemble the parts to re-establish back the whole. For example, like analyzing a sample of water. So you have the sample of water. So this is what we call as electrolysis process. So electrolysis process is you have this sample of water, and then you have the electrical current. So this electrical current is passed through the water between 2 electrodes. Okay, so we have 2 electrodes. So the water will be split into 2 parts, which is the oxygen and also the hydrogen. So this is the determining what the parts are, right? And then if we combine them back together, you will get back the sample of water. So analysis treats any conceptual whole as the same as the sum of its parts. The second mental process is synthesis. So synthesis is combining separate parts or elements to form a coherent whole. So you have different element or different component. So you combine them together, which in turn will give you something else, right? So I believe that everyone has listened to a lot of songs that you have listened to right now. So in order for you to compose a song, what do you need, right? So for you to compose a song, of course, you need to have the melody, and then you need to have the musical instruments, and of course you need to have the lyrics. And who are going to sing the lyric? Of course, the singer's voice. So when you have all these things together, you combine them, so you will get a song. So this is the process of composing a song. So composing a song is actually one of the synthesis process, which is the mental process. The third mental process is holistic thinking. So holistic thinking perceives a coherent whole as primary, so the whole being greater than the sum of its parts. So nature and purpose of the whole can best be understood when it is viewed as a whole rather than taken apart. In order to understand what is currently happening, so holism proposes that it is necessary to look at the entire picture. So rather than focus on just one aspect of the problem, so it is necessary to recognize the various factors interact and influence each other. Then only you can understand what is currently happening in a certain situation. So now let's say we need to improve the braking system of a car by applying the systems thinking. What are the things that we need to consider? So rather than try to improve the braking system on a car by looking in great detail at the material composition of only the brake pad, okay, which is actually the reductionist approach, the boundary of the braking system may be extended to include the interaction between the brake disc, drums, the brake pedal sensors, hydraulics, the driver reaction, tires, the road, the weather, the time of the day, and of course the interaction among them. As a result of such thinking, new insight may begin into how the brake works, why it has problem, how it can be improved, or how changes made to one component of the system may impact the other components.